Hello, welcome back to Raw and Unedited Footage with Author Jorri Rivers. Today I want to talk to you about one of my new favorite locations, which is the main location in my new book series, Enchanted Dragon Academy. So the academy itself is located in an area behind Mount Rushmore in South Dakota. It is located in the United States. The book series takes place in, I would say, the early 2000 era. And this location is magical and wonderful. And I hope that you feel as immersed and excited by this location as I do when you read about it. Enchanted Dragon Academy is run by this fantastic man. His name is Solon Stormrider, and he raises a daughter whose name is Diana, who is going to be the main character in this book series. I'm all about a female warrior, so we're going to have this kind of badass female main character. So that's the vibe I'm going for in this book series. So the book that is about to get released, The First Spark, comes out August 8th. I'm really excited for the release. And this book opens up with the elemental sorting ceremony. So at Enchanted Dragon Academy, there is 6 magical elemental units that you can be sorted into. And each elemental unit is sorted by characteristics of people, right? So every student that gets sorted, of course, has characteristics in all of the houses, but the elemental sorting ceremony puts you in the house that they think you would fit best with other people, right? So just because you're in one elemental unit doesn't mean you don't have characteristics in the other units, right? Enchanted Dragon Academy, all elemental units are created equal. It is about creating a unity of an environment where all the houses are equally talked about, equally celebrated. And there's going to be characters that you're going to come to know and love in each of the houses. So that's the main premise of this series. I just want to dive into them. The first elemental unit is element Earth. And so students that get sorted into this elemental unit are typically imaginative, they're loyal, they're proactive, they're very results driven, they persevere, reliable and kind, they're fair, they're caring and dependable. Their main dragon, the dragon that founded element Earth, is named Terramir. The second elemental unit is element Wood. These students are typically vibrant and vivacious. They're creative. They value teamwork and they're patient and resilient. They're very consistent people, overall nurturing and helpful and friendly. They're very goal-oriented, empathetic people, and very social. This elemental unit was formed by the dragon Floravane. The next elemental unit is element Metal. These students are typically very precise and disciplined in what they do. They're very logical thinkers, they're very resilient and ambitious, they're tenacious, they're very clever and strong people. They're very good planners, very motivated, resourceful, trendsetters and analytical, one may say. And this elemental unit was founded by the dragon Faradon. The next elemental unit is element Water. These students are typically calm, they're powerful, they're very go with the flow, and they're wise and balanced. They're very curious and thoughtful. They're very deep problem solvers, studious, strategic, very insightful, intuitive students. And this elemental unit was formed by the dragon Marivel. The next elemental unit is one that I identify with myself, element Fire. If I were to be in an elemental unit, this would be it. These students are very energetic, they're intense, they can be unpredictable, They sometimes crave attention. They're courageous and brave. They have great leadership skills. They're kind of fierce and passionate about what they do. They're very inspirational. They're very determined and very adventurous. This elemental unit was formed by the dragon Pyraxis. And the next and final elemental unit is element air. These students value connection. They love to explore. They're very flexible. They're innovative thinkers. They're visionaries. They have a very positive attitude. They're more of your daydreamers, expressive artists. They're independent people, very spontaneous. They're very adaptable and very witty with what they do. And this elemental unit was formed by the dragon Heirloom. So I just wanted to give you a little background before you jump into the next book in the series, The First Spark. If you have already read the first book in the series, The Magical Introduction, you've gotten a little bit of an introduction to these, but book 2, which comes out in exactly 60 days from today, which is really exciting, is really going to dive into these next elemental units. So you're going to get to know some characters in each of the elemental units. You're going to kind of decide along the journey which elemental unit you think you are. Overall, I was kind of trying to talk to a couple of my friends about how these elemental units match up to Hogwarts, right? So if I were to assign and say, hey, these are very similar to the Hogwarts houses, what I would say is element fire would be your Gryffindor students, right? I would say that your element water and probably your element earth students are going to be more of your Ravenclaw students. I would say element wood and element air are going to be more of your Hufflepuff students. And then element metal is going to be your Slytherins, right? Everyone loves a good element metal student, so they're going to shake some things up. One of my favorite characters is going to be coming out of element metal, so stay tuned for that. But I'm excited for you guys to dive into this adventure with me. So 60 days from today, we're going to be releasing The First Spark, and is going to dive into Diana's adventure at Enchanted Dragon Academy. You're going to be introduced to a new sport called Stormball. You're going to be introduced to new classes, some new magical and mystical beings, a lot of new students that Diana's going to become friends with, some new clubs, so stay tuned. There's a lot in store for you. So August 8th, which, if those of you that don't know yet, that is the day that students go back to Enchanted Dragon Academy every year. So I'm releasing it because it's a very special day in the Enchanted Dragon Academy world. So stay tuned. August 8th, here comes the second book in the series, The First Spark. Thank you guys. Have a great night.